Hello, you're watching Movie Snapshot Scenes, and this is the summary of Dune 2021. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. A young man thinks of a world he has never seen in the far future, when the Emperor rules over whole planets through noble houses. Every night, Paul Atreides, heir to the House Atreides, dreams of a desert with endless dunes, 2 moons, war rumors, and a mystery girl whose blue eyes shine like the sea. Her voice can be heard across the sands calling his name. He has dreams that mean something, but he doesn't know what yet. The ocean world of Caladan is ruled by Paul's dad, Duke Leto Atreides. It has grey skies and light rain. Things are quiet here, but the Emperor's sudden order breaks the peace. House Atreides has been told to take over Arrakis, the harsh desert planet also known as Dune, which is the only place in the world where spice melange can be found. The spice makes people live longer, improves their awareness, and even lets them go to space. Everything is controlled by whoever has it. Leto thinks it's a trick, even though it's being sold as an honor. House Harkonnen ruled Arrakis for a long time. They were a cruel and greedy family that ruined the world. Leto knows that the Emperor's order isn't a present. It's either a test or a death sentence. He still agrees. He tells Paul, "We answer every call. No trust that we break." Paul goes through secret tests as the Atreides get ready to leave Caladan. Lady Jessica, his mother, is a member of the Bene Gesserit, an old order of sisters who are trained to be mentally and physically strong. She taught Paul their ways, like how to control his breathing, clear his mind, and use the voice, which is an order that makes people do what you say. The Bene Gesserit have their own long-term plan, and Paul's life breaks it. Jessica worries about him. A Bene Gesserit Reverend Mother comes to test Paul one morning. He is on his knees in front of her, his hand inside a box that is on fire with unbearable pain. It's calm. If you take your hand off, you'll die. Paul shakes and sweats on his face, but he keeps going. She looks at him with awe and fear when it's over. "He may be the one," she says. "He was born of a mother's choice, not our own." Later, Paul and his father are standing by the water, and he is wondering if the road they are on is real or just a dream. What does he ask? Will we really find peace on Arrakis? Leto gives a small smile. "Our fate will be found," he says. The Atreides fleet leaves Caladan and cuts through the void on its way to Dune's golden storms. Along with them come Paul's dreams of the desert, the girl, and the sound of the wind beating like a heart. He sees bloody flashes, troops, and flags on fire in the sun. The heat hits him like a live thing when he gets off the ship. The sand goes on forever, and the 2 suns make it shine. The air is filled with the smell of spices. The desert is watching him too, but he doesn't know it yet. There are now dreams about Paul Atreides in Arrakis as well. As soon as the ships of the Atreides land on Arrakis, the desert eats them up. The golden sands go on forever and shine in the sun all the time. The landing fields are sprayed with wind that smells like dry spices. The smell is sharp, enticing, and almost alive. Paul says it's like going into a dream. There is power hidden in every grain of sand. The new home of House Atreides is the city of Arrakis, which was cut into the rocks. It's a castle built out of dust and stress. People carefully bow down to Duke Leto as they meet him. Their eyes are filled with both fear and hope. The Fremen, who live in the deep desert and are fierce, hidden, and very spiritual, are among them. The people from other worlds think of them as primitive. Leto sees them as possible partners. As he watches the sky turn gold at dusk, he tells Paul, "Desert power. We need that to stay alive here." As the days go by, Paul learns that there is only one rule for life on Arrakis. The desert doesn't give anything away for free. Careless killings happen in the heat, and storms tear through steel. Below the surface, huge sandworms move around and eat anything that gets in their way. But the spice can only be found in these sands, and the worms are very protective of it. Paul is very interested in how the planet works. The Fremen wear clever clothes called still suits that turn their sweat into drinking water. "Every drop counts," says Dr. Lietkines, the royal ecologist who works with the Fremen in secret. She pays close attention to Paul because she sees something in him that other people don't. She tells him, "The desert takes the weak, but it changes the strong." There is a lot of danger inside the fortress of Atreides. The halls are full of sabotage and whispers. Machines break down for no reason. Leto's men find a trap in a spice grinder that is set to kill them. Leto says in a grim voice, "The Harkonnens may be gone, but their shadow still lingers." Jessica can feel it too. A storm is coming, but it's not of sand. It's of fate, She can tell Paul is changed. His thoughts get clearer, and his visions get stronger. He talks about a girl with blue eyes and fights that are still to come. Jessica hides her fear while she teaches him how to meditate on the Bene Gesserit. Pay attention, she whispers. Fear kills the mind. Allow it to go through you. One night, Paul meets Duncan Idaho, a warrior who is very loyal to his family, while he is exploring the house. Duncan's face lights up with respect for the Fremen because he just got back from living with them. He says, "They're not wild animals. I've never met such tough people before. They want freedom so badly that they're willing to die for it." Leto takes a ride on an ornithopter, a bird-like aircraft that floats like a dragonfly, outside of the city to see spice gathering for herself. When Paul joins them, he feels both fear and joy in his chest. A quake shakes the ground as the huge harvester rolls across the dunes. The men yell out notices. From far away, a deep, rhythmic, and living sound that sounds like thunder is slowly building. A sandworm is on its way. Paul leans forward and looks around. The sand below him moves around like it's breathing. He can feel it. Arrakis's beat, pulse, and raw energy. He feels like the desert is calling to him for the first time. The desert's roar gets louder and louder until it sounds like a beating. As the ground shakes, Duke Leto's ornithopter flies around above the spice farms. The big harvester is below, cutting through the dunes and sucking up clouds of golden dust that sparkles with spice. Paul is mesmerized as he watches from the window. He feels like the beat of the desert is like an old sound echoing through his blood. The workers below start to get scared. I hear someone yell over the radio, "Worm sign!" A red light sounds an alarm. Paul strains to see what he's looking for in the distance. A huge, changing hill moving forward in the sand. The worm is coming. Leto quickly calls for help. Another ship comes down to get the people. But time is running out. The shaking gets stronger. The hills break down like waves. Paul says, they won't make it. But his dad doesn't think twice. The Duke flies the ornithopter lower, not caring that the air is shaking. "Let us have as many as we can." The worm jumps out of the ground with a loud noise that could split the sky in two. It is taller than a building and is a huge cylinder made of muscle and teeth. When it opens its mouth, sunlight and swirling sand shine off of it. Everyone is frozen with fear and awe at what they see. Paul's heart is racing not out of fear, but because he knows what's going on. There's a strange spiritual pull that makes him want to be there. Paul. His dad yells and pulls him back as the worm falls again and eats the whole harvester. The desert blows up in a cloud of dust. There is quiet for a moment, and then the sand slowly falls over the machine that is no longer there. Paul shakes as he looks out the window as they fly back to Arrakis. His life has changed because of it. The desert isn't just living, it's ancient, conscious, and aware. It's the voice of the planet, he says to himself in a whisper. Things get worse back in the city. House Atreides gets used to being in charge, but there is something going on below the surface that can't be seen. There are spies, enemies, and fear all around them. Every whisper in the halls makes Paul feel it. That night, Leto tries to show power by having members of the Spacing Guild and agents of the Emperor over for dinner. Paul sits quietly next to his mother and watches everything she does and says. The political game is as cold as night in the desert. Later, Jessica talks to him about it. She whispers, "You've changed." Paul seems far away and troubled. He says, "I saw the worm. It was a god, not a monster." Jessica looks at him with worry. She can't get the Bene Gesserit prophecy out of her head. It's about a child born in the desert who will unleash an uncontrollable force. Paul has another dream that night. He's walking through sands as the sun goes down in a red haze. The pretty girl with blue eyes is in front of him. She tells him, "You'll have to learn how we do things. Get ready." In front of her, the sand rises up like waves and covers the sky. He can still taste the spice in the air when he wakes up. The desert waits outside the city walls. It is huge, patient, and very old, and in the silence between its breaths, it speaks of what will happen. The quiet of night falls over Arrakis like a blanket. The winds in the desert die down, and the palace buzzes with the uneasy quiet that happens right before something bad happens. Paul can't fall asleep. His dreams have become more vivid, showing him fire, betrayal, and the sounds of many people calling his name. He knows deep down that something bad is going to happen. Duke Leto reads news in the war room. The flow of spices has slowed down, machines stop working for no reason, and packages disappear into the desert. He says sabotage to his master-at-arms. It seems like the Harkonnen set traps everywhere. Leto rubs his forehead. So the Emperor sent his soldiers to go with them. Now he knows it. This job was never a gift. It was a death sentence. The Emperor is worried about House Atreides' growing power, so he has joined forces with their enemies to get rid of them. That being said, the Duke's determination stays strong. He says quietly, "We'll get through this. We are going to live in Arrakis." As Jessica walks through the castle, she feels a sense of danger. The training in Bene Gesserit makes her instincts very sharp. There is one scary truth that comes out of the guard's words of fear and the flicker of movement where there shouldn't be any. She breathes. They're coming. Dr. Yue, the family's trusted doctor, stands in the dark alleys of Arrakis, far from the castle. He is shaking. The Harkonnens have taken his wife. To save her, he had to lie to the Duke and turn against him. He tears up as he turns off the shields that are protecting the castle and puts a paralyzer dart in the Duke's bedroom. He says in a whisper, "Forgive me. This is the only way." A short time later, night falls. As Harkonnen ships fall from the sky, Arrakis is shaken by explosions. Soldiers and Sardaukar, the Emperor's best fighters, pour into the city when troop carriers open their bellies. The weight of war makes the ground shake. Jessica wakes up to loud noises and sounds. She runs through fire and smoke-filled hallways yelling, "Get Paul!" While Paul is in his room, his dreams come true. When he wakes up, Yue is standing over him, looking guilty. The doctor says in a broken voice, "I've doomed us all, but I'll give you a chance." He gives Paul and Jessica a still suit and a pack full of gear. "They are going to take you to the desert. Live and get revenge on him." When Leto wakes up, he is tied up and brought before the horrible Baron Harkonnen, who planned their demise. Yue's last move is to hide a deadly gas capsule in the Duke's tooth. He tells her to bite down. "You'll also kill the Baron." A short time later, Leto does. The gas fills the chamber and kills everyone except the Baron, who coughs his way out and is still living. Paul and Jessica are caught outside in the chaos and put on an ornithopter that is going to the desert. Paul looks back at the city that is on fire as the engines roar. He sees his father's heritage turning to ash. He's not sad. In a whisper, he says the words his mother taught him. "I must not fear. Fear kills the mind." This is the start of the night of betrayal. At the same time, Paul Atreides truly woke up. The bird of prey flies through the night sky, its engines roaring against the wind in the desert. Paul and his mother are tied down and gagged in the back. They are torn between fear and anger. Below them, the dunes go on forever, making an ocean of shadows that shines dimly in the moonlight. The men from Harkonnen laugh, not realizing how dangerous it is below. Jessica's sharp eyes are always moving, as if she is thinking. Her Bene Gesserit mind is working, even though she is in jail. When a soldier makes fun of her, she changes the tone of her voice and gives it a strange sound. "Untie us," she tells them. The man's eyes get cloudy. The voice takes over. It's an old way to persuade that's built into sound itself. In a flash, their attackers turn on each other out of confusion. Jessica sets Paul free, and the two of them take over the ship. Paul's hands are shaking as he holds onto the keys. Jessica tells you to hold steady. "The storm will hide us." On the horizon in front of you, lightning flashes across a wall of wind and sand that rises like a live mountain. The Harkonnens get scared, but Paul jumps right into the storm. Hurricane-force gusts are shaking the ship fiercely. Sand hits the ship hard and breaks up the metal. In spite of all the noise, Jessica holds onto her place and speaks quietly. "Think. Feel the storm's beat." Paul shuts his eyes. The world falls apart. In his mind, the storm slows down and patterns start to show up in the chaos. He changes the controls so that the boat moves with the wind instead of against it. It moves like a leaf in a river. Jessica just stares in shock. There is a moment when he feels like fate is leading him. After that, the engines stop working. The bird of prey slams into the dunes, flipping through the air before going silent. After everything calms down, Paul and Jessica come out, hurt but still living. The desert around them goes on forever and doesn't care. They don't have much water saved up. Soon, the sun will rise. They need to move. The world turns into fire as dawn breaks. The sun is shining brightly, and each step feels heavier than the last. Jessica moves slowly and carefully, trying to hold her breath. Even though Paul is tired, he starts to see things. It's like broken mirror glass showing him glimpses of the future. In some, he sees himself in charge of troops while the sky is on fire. In some, Blood flows like rivers through the sand. They hide in a rocky outcropping and take a break as the sun rises. Jessica looks at him. She says in a soft voice, "You're changing." Paul looks out into the desert. There is spice in the air. It's there for me. It tells me what's going to happen. It gets dark again, and the sands start to move around them. A low rumble turns into a roar. There's a worm nearby. They can feel the ground moving like water under their feet. Paul grabs his mum's hand, and the three of them climb up the rocks just as a huge shape appears from below. The creature is very big. Its round mouth opens like the gate to infinity, and its many teeth shine in the moonlight. It hovers in front of them, feeling their presence. Its breath makes the air move. Then, just as quickly, it goes back into the hills, leaving nothing but silence behind. Jessica lets out a slow breath. "See?" she asks in a whisper. The desert takes, but it also leaves some. Paul looks straight ahead and nods. This is a test for us. The desert has picked him, but he doesn't know it yet. After a storm, the night is quiet and never ends. Paul and Jessica walk across the dunes in silence. Their still suits keep all the moisture living. The desert hums under their feet, sounding old, alert, and almost alive. They keep following the stars and the wind's faint echoes of movement. Paul knows that other people are watching them from somewhere. The sand moves at dawn. From the misty sky, figures appear. They are dressed in tan and grey, and their eyes are glowing blue within blue. Women. They surround the strangers with their weapons drawn, as silent as shadows. Paul slowly raises his hands to show that he wants to be calm. He can see that Jessica is ready to go as she stands next to him. The largest person in the group, Stilgar, steps forward. He is in charge of them. His face is worn down, and you can't read what he's saying. Stilgar says in a rough, stone-like voice, "You cross our sands without right. Give me one reason why I shouldn't throw you to Shay Howard." Jessica answers before Paul can say anything, and her tone is clear and authoritative. "We don't want to hurt anyone. They are after us. Help us, and you'll get friends." The dry air holds her words. One of the Fremen mutters something incredulous, but Stilgar looks at her very carefully. He tells her, "Your voice has power. Be good to yourself." The sun is shining in Paul's eyes as he moves forward. "We don't mean any harm," he says. "Duke Leto of House Atreides was my dad. He was lied to. We only want to stay alive." The name makes the Fremen whisper. They were polite to Leto, and word of his death has already spread like fire on the wind. Stilgar's voice gets softer. He says, "The desert remembers your father. He was a good person. Respect is important, but it's not enough to keep people safe." When one of the Fremen gets too close, Jessica moves faster. She uses the voice to make the man drop his gun, and then sweeps him to the ground all at once. The others stop moving in shock. He laughs after his eyes get bigger. He calls her ferocious, which is a Fremen word for a holy woman. "Maybe you will make it through this after all." He tells his people to put down their guns. He says, "You'll come with us. The desert will tell you how valuable you are." It's a long and rough trip across the hills. It gets so hot that Paul and Jessica can't see the Fremen through sandstorms and in the middle of the day. They don't leave any signs behind as they move like ghosts. Paul notices how skilled they are as they move. He sees how they walk in a rhythm to avoid calling on the sandworms, how they catch water from the air, and how they worship the desert as both a god and an enemy. That night, they find a secret cave called Sietch Tabor. It's a huge area cut into the rock where they can hide. Inside, flames flicker against stone walls that have Fremen symbols carved into them. The air still smells like spices. As the kids run through the tunnels, you can hear their laughing. Scar sits next to Paul while he rests. He tells him, "You go down strange paths. Some say a voice in the desert told them you were coming." Paul looks down at the sand that is running through his fingers. He says in a whisper, "Maybe I was meant to be here." The girl with the blue eyes comes back to him in his dreams. She is standing in the windy desert and her eyes are fixed on him. "Hello, Sietch," she says in a soft voice. "Welcome back." Paul feels the desert for the first time, not as an enemy, but as his fate. It's very quiet in the siege, but Paul wakes up to whispers. The Fremen whisper about him in their own language, calling him the boy from another world who walks alone in the desert, the son of the dead duke, and the child who sees ghosts. Some people say he's lucky, some are dangerous. Jessica looks at it with wary eyes as it happens. She knows what faith and destiny can turn into. The Fremen have a hard but strict way of life. Every breath and drop of water is holy. Paul quickly picks up their ways. like how to move quickly across the dunes, fight close up, and make the still suit fit like a second skin. The girl from his dreams, Chani, trains with him. Her fierce spirit and calm strength both test and comfort him. Something changes inside him the first time he sees her face in the dim light of the caves. He says in a whisper, "I know you." She just smiles. "You dreamed about seeing me." As the days turn into weeks, Paul's ideas get clearer. They sometimes show him standing in front of huge armies yelling his name. Other times, he sees the desert on fire, his mother crying, and the world changing because of him. This is what he hides because he is scared of what it means. But he knows that the desert is moving inside him and changing his fate, little by little. In the meantime, Jessica has her own test. The Fremen worship her as a reverend mother, a spiritual leader who can connect different worlds. To get that title, she has to go through a rite that involves the water of life, which is the poisonous liquid that a drowned sandworm spews out. It's poison for minds that aren't trained. The people in the group are quiet as she drinks it. Her eyes roll back and her body shakes. Paul gets down on his knees next to her and grabs her hand, not letting go. It seems like hours have passed. Then with a sudden gasp, she wakes up. Her voice has changed and her mind has grown. The Fremen bow down. The forecast gets clearer. When she looks at Paul again, she doesn't just see her son. She sees something bigger and stronger. She says, "You've changed. The desert has taken you." Paul starts to lead small raids with Stilgar's troops. They attack Harkonnen spice convoys and then disappear into the sands before the enemy can react. His moves are quick and accurate, and they come from both Atreides' discipline and Fremen's sense. They start to trust him and give him a new name, Muad'Dib, after the desert mouse that stays alive no matter what. In the middle of the night, under the 2 stars, Paul talks to Chani. He says, "If I can't stop what's coming, then I must become it." He feels a light touch on the face. "Then open your eyes and become it." The desert below them whispers, but it's not the wind. It sounds like something living, old and waiting. Paul sees how the dreams, the prophecies, the pain, and the power all fit together as he looks out over the great dunes. He isn't just Paul Atreides, son of a house that fell. He is Muad'Dib, the sound of the desert. He is the start of a story that will shake the world.